All right, guys, welcome to episode 103. What's next?
It's a great question.
Right? So, I mean, now that the big race of the season's kind of over, it's just like, all right, I'm going to phone it in.
Yeah, it's like, what's my motivation?
What am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah, why am I doing the guy in the middle of a VO2 and you're like, why am I doing this? I don't have another year till the next one of these races. I got plenty of time to get ready.
I got to make sure. I don't even know if I'm in yet.
Right, exactly.
So I always feel like when you have these early season races, and I say early season, but I mean, we're not into summer yet.
I know the summer's not here yet, but the season, I don't want to say the season feels over, but it's like, to your point, the big event is over.
Yeah.
And now what?
So, well, Danny went on vacation.
Yeah.
So how did that go, Danny?
It was great.
It
was great. It was 10 days of solitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was time in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado and spent some time in the desert of Utah. And a little bit of time down in New Mexico, your home state.
My home state. Yeah. It's beautiful down there.
Yeah, I said hi to everybody.
Yeah. They probably came up and were like,
all your friends down there.
All three of them.
Yeah. I was going to say there was nobody there. It's an empty desert.
Exactly.
No, it was amazing. So one of the other little hobbies I have is if gravel cycling isn't punishing enough, I enjoy taking the truck out on off-road trails and get 4x4 and all that kind of stuff. And wife and I took our vehicles out to test them a little bit, get them dirty on the dirt roads. And
you mean there wasn't dirt roads around here?
Yeah. Well, the Flint Hills are beautiful, but they're not really challenging.
They're just the hills.
There's hills. Yeah.
You went to straight up mountains. And bluffs. And
exactly.
Desert and
and we've been through Colorado and we've ridden Colorado on bikes and love Colorado. But first time to get to Utah and spent 2 nights. Spent out of the 9 nights, spent 6 nights camping. Where a few of those nights were like nobody within 10 to 15 mile radius. It was amazing. Solitude, quiet, except for the nature. Slept by a waterfall one night, which was just beautiful.
How many times did you talk about Unbound out there?
Funny you should ask that. We'll get to that. So,
and how many times did you see your wife's eyes just roll in the back of her head?
I did make the comment. We were on the White Rim Trail, which is a 4x4 trail, 4x4 only trail in Canyonlands National Park. And I did see one person riding their mountain bike. And that's a big thing out there. It's like people like to ride their mountain bike. It's like 80 to 90 miles. I don't know the exact mileage. But most of it is stuff you could actually ride on the gravel bike. But there's at least two very, very difficult sections. Even in a vehicle, it's like 20+% grade straight up the bluff, to your point. Yeah. It's like straight up the bluff. It's like bluff right here, fall off into the pit of death down here. Right. Yep. So it was pretty sketchy, even in a truck. So obviously a bike, you have a lot more room to work with, but I mean, I don't want to pedal up a 20% grade for anything.
No,
nothing.
I'd be walking for sure.
Yeah. That's not where I saw the mountain biker. For all I know, he got out of the truck that just passed me. I have no idea, but my guess is he was riding it. But the thing is, you can't really ride down that either because it's so steep. Like you'll be on the brakes the whole time. I'd love to see somebody descend it.
Yeah.
Because there's some of it's just straight downhill, and then there's some that are real tight switchbacks. But anyway, so it was amazing. Beautiful trip. We wrapped up the trip coming back through Breckenridge, which is kind of a yearly stop that we like to make. Awesome town. And one of my guilty pleasures of Breckenridge is there's a cookie shop in town. They have chocolate chip cookies, which, so the reason I'm not at 4 watts per kilo is because of ice cream and chocolate chip cookies.
And the trips to Breckenridge to get cookies.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So I'm a sucker for a good chocolate chip cookie, and this shop has really good ones. So I'm in there, and they always have a deal. You buy 6
for you. They have a deal.
They know me. They got my picture on the wall. Like, you see this guy? He's buying cookies.
He's buying cookies. Make sure the chocolate chip cookies are
offering
fresh.
The deal. Yeah, that's right.
He'll wait around.
He will. That's right. So they always have a deal. It's buy 6 cookies, get 2 free.
Okay.
Now you think about that. It doesn't sound like a great deal. I'm like, buy 6, why not buy 3, get 1 free?
Right.
No, it's buy 6, you get 2 free.
Well, then you got to eat them all.
And exactly. No sane person needs 8 cookies.
You do, though.
I do.
Yeah.
So what do I get? I just tell the lady, I would love to have 8 cookies, please.
Yeah. And then you look over at your wife and you're like, I hope you're getting something.
How many are you going to eat?
Yeah.
So,
These are all mine.
that's right. So I'm standing there, and my wife gets the ones that she wants. So, which by the way, I'm not even sure they ever got eaten, but she got those. And then the rest of whatever she didn't want to get, I just got chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
They got some good other varieties, but yeah. So I'm standing there getting ready to pay, and I hear this kid. Oh, I shouldn't say kid. He's a guy. He comes running from the back of the store.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like one of these. You walk in. It's a fairly narrow building.
It's the
old downtown.
Yeah, the old
stuff.
downtown.
And when but you can look, you can see straight through all the way to the back. So this guy's running, like almost flat out run up to the front of the store. He goes, and I'm wearing this hat and my finisher's jacket.
Yeah, let's go.
Because it was a little chilly.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's a little chilly. I need to wear my finisher's jacket.
I can't wait till it gets cold just so I wear that. Sucker.
That's right.
I earned that.
I was actually sweating in it, but I wanted to wear it. So I stand there. This guy comes running from the back and he goes, hey, did you do Unbound this year?
Nope.
Like,
just got the jacket.
Yeah. I knocked some guy out and took his jacket.
Yeah.
What's Unbound?
Yeah. What's Unbound?
He goes, how was it? And I said, it was pretty freaking awesome. I said, I told him, of course, listen to the episode and all that stuff. But I said, it was awesome. Perfect course for the year. Basically the same thing I said on the episode, but in a lot fewer words. And he goes, oh man, he goes, I heard it was so crazy. He goes, did you have to walk? And I go, you probably heard from 100 milers.
Yes. They had to walk.
They did. And so I was like, I go, no, I said, fortunately the 200 milers didn't have to walk too much. I said, we only had to walk maybe like a mile total.
Yeah.
The whole thing. And so he goes, oh man, he goes, I remember I did it in 2023. And I'm like, oh, you did it in the mud year.
Yeah, so, yeah, we did a lot of walking.
Did a lot of walking. I said, remember that section you had to walk? He goes, yeah, that was like 15 miles. It gets etched in his memory. Like, you can tell he is still like trying to get over it, right? And it's like etched deep in his mind. And he's like, oh man, he was like 15 miles in, we had to walk forever. And I said, yeah, I said, good time. I said, no, it wasn't like we rode that this year.
Yeah, we rode it. Yeah.
And he goes, oh man, he goes, I got 50 miles into that race in 23 and I was cooked. Sounds like you had a long day.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were talking about this year and I said, you going to come back out and do it? And he goes, no. The clearest, cleanest, most simple answer he could give. No. And that was it. And then he turned around and walked away.
Yeah.
It's like we were friends until I asked him if he wanted to do it again.
Yeah. And then he's like, no. He's like, don't rope me in. He's like, no. I'm not friendly like that. No.
Right. Exactly.
Like you just go back where you came from. Buddy.
That's right. So anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you saw, we were talking about, when we just, before we started recording, just the amount of like, how much my bike repair costs type stuff. So I went ahead and I saw all this and I was like, well, I posted a video about my bike. I hadn't looked at it for a week and you were out of town. So, and I was taking the week off and I was like, well, I might as well see I want to see how much damage I did do it.
Well, it's funny you say that because I did not see. So I took a Starlink with me for work purposes, which I know sounds kind of funny. Like I'm on vacation, but I had some things I wanted to make sure I had. Plus, our Starlink was, for lack of better words, our emergency, contact thing. Like I don't have a Garmin InReach or anything like that. So, so I still had access to the outside world, and I was seeing on Facebook a lot of comments in the groups in the pages about repair costs, and I'm like, number one, you should probably work on your own bike.
Yep.
That's a good tip. And if you can't work on your own bike, I get it, but don't be surprised at the repair bill.
Right.
So, I mean, bikes, especially from a bike shop. Now you get an independent mechanic and, you can probably work out some deals.
But even then, like, when you pay a lot of money for these bikes, the tolerances aren't, the more money you spend doesn't mean you get a more bomb-proof bike. You get a bike that's built to perform like a Ferrari.
Exactly.
When the tolerances aren't met, stuff starts to go wrong.
You got it.
And it costs a lot of money to get it fixed.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So you if I remember right, and I didn't get a chance to watch the video yet because I just got back in town and it's been chaos since. But we were talking a little bit before we started recording today, and it sounds like you basically had your bike on the rack from the moment you got back from Unbound, which they washed it off there, right? You had it on the rack, and you were like, "Hey, let's just go ahead and let's do a live walkthrough of what you're running into."
And I just pulled it apart.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So, and so luckily for me, whatever reason, I got a little bit more scuffing on the front fork.
Yeah.
It did burn a hole through one of the chainstay. I wrap it with an old butyl tube.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So basically, it ate away at that, so it served its purpose. It took the blunt of
that's right.
most of the rubbing, and then headset bearings needed to be replaced. So that's
pretty common though.
Yeah, like $15 for that. And then
it seems like a lot of bikes have headset bearings. If you ride in the rain very much, like I know
it's just because everything just splashes there, and they just sit flat, so the water just sits there pools on them. Yeah, and then any grease or any grit that sticks to the grease just sits there and just keeps getting. Every time you turn the handlebars, you're just digging it,
and you can hear it too.
Yeah. So they cleaned up okay and they worked, but I ordered another set, so they're coming in, and whenever they come in, I'll replace them real quick.
But so this is actually a really interesting point, because a lot of the newer bike designs are going with the integrated cockpit, right? So all the cabling is internally routed. So if you've got to replace a bearing up there, guess what you get to do?
You got to pull all the cables and stuff out,
which does what? Increases the cost and time, right? So it's funny because like if you got an older bike like we do, you just pull the stem off and you pop the bearings out, you put new bearings in, and maybe 30 minutes worth of work and you're done, right? And these newer bikes, it's like 2 hours worth of work because you gotta rip everything out.
You pull if you have wireless, or maybe you have the old Di2 where it has to run a cable or whatever, you have to pull all that out. You have to unattach all the brake hoses, and then you got to pull all that stuff out, replace the bearings, and then put that back in, and then bleed the brakes.
I was going to say, put the brake hoses back on, bleed the brakes.
Because you got to bleed all that stuff out, and then so it's a lot more labor intensive with a fancier looking bike. So again, I'm not sitting here to like yuck on somebody's yum, but like when you pay $14,000 for this really sweet looking bike, like you're gonna expect that when it comes to fixing it, it's gonna be very pricey. Yeah, because there's a lot more work involved.
It costs a lot less to repair pieces and parts on a 20-year-old vehicle versus a 1-year-old vehicle.
Exactly.
Because things only get more complicated, it seems.
Yep.
So
so I ended up over the whole thing. It was basically one pedal bearing was bad.
Okay.
So that was like,
which a lot of the pedal bearings, depending on which pedals you have, some of those can be rebuilt too.
Yeah.
So
it was the Garmin one. So I just looked up looked up the size and that, and ordered that. That came in, just popped that back in, and it was good to go. It was the outside one, which is basically the one that's or not that, it's the one where the spindle attaches to the crank. Okay. So all the mud just kind of went in there. Yeah. And so when you pop it out, you just pull that one out, and then it was relatively quick to replace. And and then the headset. So I think in all it was like $25 worth of bearings plus shipping.
Yeah. So maybe then $30-$40 tops for parts. And then so now this is the thing, like you obviously used to work in a bike shop as a mechanic, so you kind of know a thing or two, but what would that cost in a normal bike shop? What would the rate probably be on something like that?
If I was in a bike shop, basically anytime I have, so basically tearing the bike out and to find out what was wrong with it, that's a price. Right. And then ordering, and then each install of the bearing is a price. So like, it's like, for the pedal bearings, it would probably be like $40 to install the bearing and then put the pedal back on. Sure. And then, another $40 to install the headset bearings and all that stuff.
Probably a couple $100 by the time you're all in. Yeah. Like you got to do tune up too on. I'm sure you're going to want to talk to the customer about a broader tune up. And that's not to knock on bike shops by any means, because we absolutely love the bike shops that people we know that own them and
Yep.
work in them. So there's no knock here at all on bike shops.
But
You got to pay for their
but
experience.
you're also getting somebody who's going to, again, they look at everything, the whole bike. And again, I'm the only one looking at my bike, so I don't have to pay for my time.
Well, but that's my point. Like, and so this is what is really interesting about, there's a lot of folks griping about the prices of these things. And I'm like, but put yourself in the position of the bike owner, the bike shop owner, who has to pay for the overhead, the labor, like all this kind of stuff. This stuff all adds up. So, you get a $200 repair bill. I'm just using yours as an example. Like we saw some of these posts that people are paying $600, $700, $800 for repairs and complaining. I'm like, yeah, but when you look at it, like, and what cracks me up is people laugh at the pictures and things like that, because they're like, oh yeah, why would you pay $40 to have it? Like, look, here's the thing. You're paying the shop for their expertise and the time to do it and the overhead that they like. You can't really complain much. Here's the option. You can learn how to do it yourself.
Right.
And the thing is like,
and that $40, let's say the $40 install fee, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what happens there is the mechanic will look up the bearing size,
sure,
and order the proper bearing that goes into that for the specification for what it's for. You can technically order a bearing off the line.
Sure.
But you don't know if it's a headset bearing.
Exactly.
You don't know if it's meant to be put in a bike.
Right.
It might just be meant to be put in a lawnmower with a different tolerance. So there's things that, you're paying for, again, $40 for an install or something like that. And I'm just making up the number, but like, the price that you're paying for the install, you're paying for the fact that you're not the one that has to look it up, learn all about it, and become the expert on, the pedal bearing. So you
get some of the, say, if you have like a big brand bike or whatever, like a lot of times you get especially the older bikes. I can't say as much about the newer ones, but the older bikes, there was a period where a lot of them were so proprietary with certain things, certain components. And like you said, you got to look up the exact like tolerances. Anymore, I think a lot of the bikes are using more common components and more readily accessible. And like, obviously I have a Specialized, I have a Diverge, and like when I need to buy a headset bearing, there's a Specialized part number. I have it written down because I've had to buy a couple of them, but like, I know I'm getting the Specialized component. But at the end of the day, like when it comes down to it, bikes are generally not that complicated to work on. Now they do require some specialty tools depending on what you're getting into, but for the vast majority of repairs, you can do those yourself in your garage. And it's not to take business away from bike shops, but you can't really complain about the price if you're going to ask somebody else to spend their time on it when you didn't take any time yourself.
Exactly.
It's just like a car.
And that's what I always tell people too, is like, you can pay me like my rate to fix your bike, but you're also like, I'm saving you time basically because you're paying me for my time and my expertise to get your bike done. And I turn it around in a very fast and timely manner.
2 or 3 days. And as soon as it's done,
it's good to go. Or you can take the time to learn all about it, get all the tools, get all that stuff. Then that $40 install fee doesn't look like a lot of.
That's exactly right. I mean, let's face it. I mean, there's a lot of things, I know how to do on my bikes and can pretty much tear them down and rebuild them if I had to. But there's also a point where it's like, maybe I just don't want to mess with it, and I'd be willing to pay somebody to do it. But I think generally speaking, the folks that are online complaining about the repairs and all that kind of stuff, like most of the things I've seen are very reasonable things to do in your garage if you just spend a couple
hours. And a lot of times too, I looked at all the bills and
the rates are reasonable.
I'm like, that's exactly what and the thing is if I were to take my bike to a bike shop and tell them, hey, I need you to fix this such and such, I would spend $30 on the bearings, but I would also probably spend about 120 on just the labor to do all to find all the issues and all that stuff. That would be very reasonable for me to basically pay for it. I'm totally fine with that. Like you have to know exactly what's in store.
Exactly.
You can't just be like, well, why am I paying $600 for all of this? It's like, dude,
that's right.
This is what it costs.
Exactly.
So,
well, I think, probably enough on that topic. But at the same time, I just think it's really interesting. Now we talk about like what's next, and the fact is Unbound is pretty hard on bikes. We know another race that's hard on bikes is Mid-South, which we know has a reputation. The last couple of years have been a little,
it's been a little, and then of
tame.
course I'm like, maybe I should go do Mid-South, and I'm sure if I go and do Mid-South next year, it's going to be rainy and just
rainy, and sand will be everywhere.
It'll be I've seen the sand that's down in Mid-South. It really tears through bikes.
That's right.
So in a mud year in Mid-South, you're definitely replacing a lot more than you would on a mud year at Unbound.
Right. And then we've had, open range. When it rained last year, I was really worried about sand, but the good thing is most of these parts are sealed. So unless there's just a seal is broken somehow, or just enough sand or dirt gets in there and just causes havoc, most of the time, I saw a comment. It was like, hey, since the bike industry isn't really innovating right now, which is knocking on the industry a little bit. Can't say that I disagree, but
what, you're not a big 32 inch wheel supporter, Danny?
We did have a spirited conversation about that on the way to Unbound.
Yeah.
Jury's out on the 32. I don't know if I'm sold on it yet. I think we're going to save that for another episode.
Yeah.
Because I want to see more evidence before I say too much, be more pragmatic about it. But my initial reaction is this feels like a lot of marketing first.
Yeah. It doesn't pass the sniff test.
Yeah.
Yes. It doesn't, I'm not seeing a lot of, it's not leaps and bounds above what's out there right now. So until a lot of 32 inch wheeled bikes start winning a lot more races, then
it has the feel of a tactic where it's like, we don't know if the market will adopt this or not, so we're going to hype it. We're going to do some free advertising on it and get a few of our riders to try it out that are willing.
Mm-hmm. You did have the XL rider that won.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I mean. Like I think there's probably a place for it. I just don't know if that place is in the mainstream of gravel cycling.
Yeah, I think
or riding in general.
I'll give my thought on it is on courses that are very straight, not, and probably rolly, not very like punchy or climby. Right. I think that will have more of an advantage. But as far as like your main gravel, this, like, you're talking about a very niche sport with a very niche, bike.
That's what I mean.
It's
I think
like running drop bars at Leadville.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Like on your mountain bike. It's like, that's the only race that you would do that. You wouldn't do that. Maybe at Schwamigan or whatever. Sure. But if you're generally talking lifetime stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's just it. So it just kind of has the feel of a marketing tactic of like, hey, let's just see if we can get this, if this catches on. If it does, we run with it and we get everybody to buy new frames. And if it doesn't, well, then we find a specialty market and we can add up margins on that. And it just has a very marketing feel to it right now.
Yeah.
That's not to say they don't have some real advantage somewhere. But we'll see. We'll have to have an episode on that. I think it'll be fun to talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, when we get a little bit more data about it. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think in terms of the whole bike repair thing and everything, I haven't actually looked at my bike yet from the race. So it's funny. We were getting ready for vacation.
It's a rusted heap now.
I know, right? Well, we're getting ready for vacation, and one of the last things I remembered before going to bed the night before we left was, oh crap! I need to clean my bottles out. Could you imagine if I forgot my bottles? Like 10 days of, in our garage where it's not exactly cold,
right?
So fortunately, I did get those all cleaned out before, but I have not had a chance to look at my bike yet. I did go out and spin the cranks just to see if my bottom, because I've had issues with my bottom bracket twice now, where it gets a little crunchy after heavy rains. Stuff, and obviously we rode in the rain a lot. It seemed okay, but I've got an extra bottom bracket. I keep one around just in case. I carry one to every race because you never know. And you know what, bottom bracket is. Fortunately, the SRAM, you can change the bottom brackets out pretty easily.
Yep.
Since they're threaded.
Yep. So. That's the beauty about a threaded bottom bracket, is just super simple to swap out real quick.
But yeah, so I mean, I would say that, as far as like getting back into the whole what's next thing, for me, now that I had 10 days off, I'm like, where's my fitness at? Is it still around?
It's in the gutter.
It's in the
gone.
gut. It's funny. It's like, it's one of those questions. It's like,
you just lost all your fitness, all your gains, Danny, they're all gone.
What gains? I felt like a slug going into Unbound. What are you talking about? But no, I know, right?
The excuses,
it's so funny.
Excuses are starting
it's
now.
So funny. It's so funny because I'm like, if I think I finished 1440 something, 1440. So it's like an hour and change off from my pace last year, which is, there's no comparison. It's a totally different course.
Yeah, totally different course.
So there's
totally
no comparison. Day, but the point is, it's like, I think if I said this in the episode, I think if my fitness was where I think it should have been, I think beating the sun was a very real possibility and probably would have happened. But
I think it was a real possibility too. But I just think that I think you mentally just held yourself back. And I think it was like the belief, right? Like if you,
maybe,
and I know I'm gonna sound super woo woo right now.
Yeah, you're pretty optimistic
from a guy that like I'm a very engineering science guy, but I think if you don't believe in your fitness, then it's really hard to pull out something special on race day. So
I agree.
I think you could have, but I think you played the smart cards.
Yeah. I think I probably could have too, and I probably would have ended up in the med tent afterwards. So, but no, all kidding aside, I mean, I have nothing to complain about, because here's the thing. Like, I look at it as, I feel very fortunate that on what I would consider a down year for me, as far as my fit, I consider it a down year. Whether it really was or not, who knows? I consider it a down year, and I still finished in less than 15 hours on a course that was very challenging. The day was very challenging, and there are a lot of people that are more fit than I am that finished much further behind me. And it's just a matter of circumstances of the day. And I feel very fortunate to have the time I had. I'm not complaining about it. And so now it's interesting now, 2 weeks later, right? Just a little over almost 3 weeks later. And it's like, okay, so what's next? I wish I could have taken my bike with me, because I would have liked to have ridden a little bit just to keep the legs turning. But there's part of me that wonders, like, after such a big event like that, especially if you're not carrying the training load to absorb such a big day, does it actually make more sense to just let your body fully recover for 10, 15 days afterwards? Much like a marathon, right? When you get done with a full, or an Ironman, you get done with one of those, like, the smart thing to do is just let your body fully recover before you do it. Don't do zone 2. It doesn't do you any good anyway. Let your body recover. And so now I'm starting to kind of think, like, maybe that was probably the best thing I could have done.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what that also means, though, is like this weekend we got solstice coming up. And I won't be
looks like it's going to be raining.
Right. At least it won't be 110 degrees out there.
I looked at the weather and I was like,
at least there'll be rain.
I was like, well, it's not 100 degrees and 40-mile-an-hour winds. So
yeah, you got that going for you. Yeah. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be in a position to be able to go to solstice this weekend. I wish I could. I really wanted to. We've talked about it quite a bit over the last several weeks. Like, I knew this was going to be a question mark for me for most of the season. Once I knew when my vacation was going to land, it just
but you get one drop race. So this is your drop race. That's good.
Yeah, okay. For wherever I land in the gravel cup standings,
right?
But I think also what it does, it lets me just focus on just get the legs back, and then we got Rock Ridge coming up the next weekend, and I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, so. I think the back-to-back weekends it's always tough, but like you, Danny, I did take the whole week off. Yeah, I mean, I even napped.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, I am not a napper.
Did somebody get a picture of this? Because I'm not sure it's ever happened.
It was insane. Like, my wife was like, "Are you napping right now?"
Right.
I was like, yeah,
I think is that what this is called?
What this is called? I'm like, I guess so. Yeah, I was completely spent, and I soaked up every minute of that.
Just sleep's the best thing you can have.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to solstice. I think it'll be a fun day. Not gonna I may try to stay with Tyler and see how long I can. I mean, that's the goal. So just see how long I can hang out with those guys, and actually, like, now I can actually race, since I'm not like adhering to a plan. So
Sure. Yeah.
we'll see what happens. It may be a total disaster and I'll regret every minute of it,
Well, we'll
or it
see.
could be fun. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
And then of course I always look forward to Rock Ridge, just because you get to ride some of the North Course.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at the course yet. So I think next week, after solstice, we'll do a little recap of your experience up there and what's unfortunately going to be the final year of solstice. So sad that that's the case, but very happy for Joe. He's getting married at the finish line.
He's going to get married, so that should be fun.
So I can't wait to hear how the race itself went and then all the festivities afterwards. But so we'll talk a bit about that, and then we'll get into Rock Ridge next week too. And I'm really excited to dig into that course. It's funny because driving I-70 across to Colorado and passing through the Flint Hills, and what's funny is like it creeps up on you because you start looking at the terrain. You're like, this is starting. Your body starts to twitch a little bit,
starts to tingle,
and I'm like I feel like fragments of my soul out here. And then you see the exit sign. The first one that I see that always reminds me is the Maple Hill exit.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh shoot.
I know that
Maple Hill. and then I think the next exit is Alma or somewhere. I don't know if it's the very next one, but you get to Alma, and I'm like, oh boy.
Yep.
and so when you're in Alma, you're like, oh man. And then you get Wabaunsee County, and you're just like, all right, I feel it now.
I'm in the thick of it now. Yeah.
But there's something about the Flint Hills, man. I do love riding out there. And I'm really excited to get to tear open that course profile a little bit, see what we got. And 85 miles in the Flint Hills is never a dull moment. So,
no, that'll be great.
So, yeah. But so we got those two races coming up, and then I mean, it kind of goes on pause for a little bit as far as the gravel cup goes, and then triathlon season.
Triathlon, that is so. I did a run last week.
I saw that. A brief moment that I was on Strava.
Yeah, I was like, huh, I can still run.
About that. It didn't have to be pretty.
It wasn't pretty at all. It was horrible.
The question is how did that 2 miles feel on your legs?
They weren't too bad. Yeah. It wasn't too bad. It was good.
I knew it was one of those breakout runs where I'm like, I saw 2 miles. I'm like, Travis is just making sure his legs still work.
Still just seeing where everything's at, just seeing what the paces feel like, just basically testing the waters. So so got out there, got the run in, and now I'm putting the tri bike on the trainer now. Nice. So I'll be doing some workouts on that. And the beauty about having the World Cup here in Kansas City is that they moved all the local races to back weekends. No. So we got Matt Mason, which is one of our favorite races. And if anybody listening is a little tri-curious, like that is probably by far the best triathlon.
I will say
in the area. I love it so much. It's such a great race.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's very like swim friendly. There's not a lot of lifeguards, not like Shawnee Mission, but the course is very straightforward. It's closed. Yeah. It's not congested. The swim courses is like 2 turns. It's a triangle.
Yeah.
And the bike course is a square, and the run is on a trail, which is super nice.
Yeah. And this is coming from somebody that's not a swimmer. So I will tell you the swim is definitely one of the, as far as a course goes, to your point, for a beginning triathlete, somebody that's just trying to get into this stuff. The swim course is about as straightforward and easy as it gets from that perspective. The only downside to this course, and it has nothing to do with obviously the race itself, but Smithville Lake is not exactly a clear lake.
No.
So it does make the open water portion, it can get to the nerves a little bit if you're kind of one of those folks like I am that does not do well in open water.
Yeah.
It's
you can't really see.
No, you can't see much. But the good thing is there's just not, you don't have to, because you're basically need to see 2 buoys.
Yep. You're just swimming. You're swimming straight.
Yeah.
So and then we have the next weekend after that is Shawnee Mission. Now this is like a really good beginner friendly course for swimming.
Yeah.
There's usually Katie Renner, the race director. She's been on the podcast a couple of times. Mm-hmm. They have lifeguards every, like, I want to say 10 yards on both sides. They corral you. They make sure you're not going off course. And you basically have, you have 1 turn, 2 turns. Basically you go straight out turn around, come back, and then you turn into the finish chute. So
Yeah.
it's really just straightforward. The only bad part about that race is that when you turn around and come back, you're swimming towards the sun.
Yeah.
So you're getting my suggestion is tinted goggles.
Yes.
So
Yeah, for sure.
And then but yeah, it's super straightforward. Really the bike course is very hilly.
Yeah.
So you know, for all of us gravel riders and stuff like that, like you're gonna love that bike
I like
course.
that bike course quite a bit. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've never, sad to say, I haven't actually done the race.
Yep.
But I have ridden that course because we've gone out there for different training rides and different events, and it's a very, very good course. If you really enjoy hilly courses,
yeah, it's a good fast course.
Yep.
Again, they close the roads. The roads are closed until the last biker's off of the course. The run is relatively hilly, and it's super fun. And then we have Kill Creek, which used to be an all women's event.
Mm-hmm.
Now they make it like a couple of years back. They made it a co-ed event. I've yet to do it, but it is a very, very awesome venue. From what everybody I've talked to who's done it says, it's a very great course. Super fun, super fast. And then after that, the next weekend, they're doing the 913. Right, 916. No, 913. Yeah, the Johnson County.
Yeah,
the kids tri club is having their own triathlon.
Nice.
That one. So if you want to come and see the future of the triathlon sport, do some triathlon.
Yeah,
those kids are freaking wild. Yeah, man. They are just, imagine all that energy just on a triathlon course. They're just insane. So, so awesome. It's great. Like a whole month of weekend triathlon. So I'm super pumped to be, doing it. So, it's going to be great. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty normal. Like triathlon season, after Unbound, you kind of shift to triathlon focus and man, to have them all back-to-back weekends, that's going to be so fun. It's like Christmas for you.
I know. That's my biggest complaint about triathlon a lot of times is that I feel like they don't get to race as much.
It's almost one of those things, like we had this conversation a lot with newer people, like to the sport and just in general, but like the best way to get better at racing is to go race.
Yes.
Right. And so if there aren't
enough
you learn
races, so much.
Yeah,
you learn
exactly.
so much from every single race.
And it's like you can ride training rides and all that stuff all day long. You can ride group rides for all, but you never really know how to like react and pace yourself in a race situation until you go do it.
Yeah, or you don't know how deep you can go into the well until you're like in it.
So. Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's one thing I wish we had more of in Kansas City area is more race weekends. For triathlon, because like on the gravel side, you have it, which is beautiful. I can, from March, April on, you can go almost every weekend.
Yeah. So we were basically like, we were racing from April on. We were racing almost every weekend except for like 2 weeks before Unbound.
Yeah.
That was the only weekend.
That's intentional, right? Because they know everybody wants to try to be ready and taper and everything. But yeah, I do wish there was more opportunity for triathlon in Kansas City to do like this back-to-back weekends. I think it's great. And who knows, maybe this format will stick and then open up some weekends and go deeper into, August a little bit with some races.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I know it gets hot, but it's like you're swimming, for crying out loud.
Yeah. And these aren't like long, everybody talks about Ironman. These aren't that. This is, these are short course.
I think
the longest
is Olympic, right?
Yeah, longest Olympic. So you're looking at like 1,500 yard swim. So it's less than a mile, 24-mile bike, and 10K.
Yeah, I mean you're done with those in a better part of an afternoon.
Yeah. So if you're stretching that into the late afternoon, then something didn't have happened. You had a bad race, which happens to all of us. But for the most part, before this really hot part of the day happens, you're pretty much done
of it.
So I'm looking forward to racing these shorter events. I mean, it's a different energy system. It's just you just go deep.
When we did
you can go so hard, so deep, so fast.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like doing a long event where everything has to be metered and measured out and all this stuff. Like you can take a little bit more risks.
I think let's see, was it 2 years ago I did Matt Mason, and we were really excited because it was our first short race of the year.
Yeah.
And we both like, you know what, we're just going to freaking rail it. Cause to your point, like you can just go all out and you know what, if you blow up, you're not going to have that much further to go anyway.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's not like blowing up at mile 50 of a 200 race where you got 150 more miles. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be out here all day.
Yeah. And I just remember on that bike, man, I hammered that bike.
Yep.
Like I know you did too. You end up leading the course that year.
Yeah, I got the course record or
the number one spot for the course. And I think I wasn't too far behind you, like maybe number 4 or something.
Yeah,
I wasn't very far.
We were hauling.
Yeah. And then even on the run, I was a little worried. I remember on that 5, it's a 5K, right? And I remember running that going, oh man, I hope I got the legs for this. And then it's like, to your point, you kind of figure out how to dig a little deeper. And it's like, for one of the few times in my training, you could actually feel the difference of the muscle groups and how running and cycling are different, even though they use the same muscles generally. It was totally different. So I actually felt like I had good energy for that whole 5K.
Yeah.
And I probably, looking back, I probably could have pushed harder.
Yeah.
You know? But it's like, that's what I'm talking about. If you had more opportunities to do that, you would, and then just take that in your next training session. You're like, you know what, this ain't so bad.
Yeah. Well, and it gives you stuff to work on too.
Yeah.
Like I always, working with athletes, they're like, okay, well, what do I work on next? What do I work on next? It's like, well, if you went and raced, we'd have concrete stuff to work on.
That's right.
For right now, it's just like the stuff that I see.
Do so much zone 2.
The stuff that I see, like your fitness is there.
Yeah.
Now we need to go and
test
it. And the best way to test it
is not an FTP test.
Not an FTP test.
That's right.
It's not training next to me. It's going out and seeing what you have on the day,
learning how to like, hey, you know what, you're going to find out if you can hold that wheel or not.
Yep. Yeah. And then making those mistakes or just be like, oh man, my goggles fogged up and all this stuff. And it's like, all right, well, now we have stuff to work on.
Well, and then that also, like, even thinking about something like nutrition where most people struggle, right? Especially newer athletes struggle. It's like, you can do a training ride, you can master nutrition on a training ride, but if you can't do that while you're putting in a race effort, you're going to learn pretty quick.
Yeah. It's a lot different when you're out there doing your training ride and you can, stop or cool off or whatever. But in a race, you tend not to do that because you're conscious of your position, but you're also conscious of like the clock is ticking, right? Like this has to be done in a certain amount of time. So, it just adds an extra level of, of fun to it, I guess.
You compete against yourself and the clock then. Yep. So triathlon season is going to be upon us here very soon. And then we'll get right into fall gravel.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is just in the whole spirit of what's next, I'm already sort of looking ahead to like structuring my training for next year.
Mm-hmm. Even before, usually we do this in September, but he's already doing it in June.
Well, I think I'm a little motivated because my training block this year didn't go quite as
here it comes.
I know, right?
Right. Ready? That's gonna be the new drinking game is when Danny makes an excuse.
Yeah, that's too funny. Yeah, but it didn't. It was not the training block I wanted. It was not.
That's you.
It is. I own it. That's why I keep saying it. But I have started looking at like what do I want to prioritize next year in terms of strength training, when do I want to start my base versus my build and all that stuff. Because to your point, a lot of times we don't do this till September, and the next thing you know, November's on you, and you're
next thing you know, February's
here, and then you're like, well, crap, did I do enough of whatever I think I didn't do enough of, and so I'm just trying to get ahead of that a little bit this year.
I think as you get to be a more seasoned athlete and you start to realize what it takes to do these events and what it takes to achieve goals that you have set, the further you have to, one, you have to realize where you're at, accept where you're at. And then you have to go, okay, well, what do I work on leading up to the next season so that when I start the next season's training, I'm further ahead than I was this year.
Yeah.
And so that when that season starts, you can gain more and more fitness.
There's one thing I've noticed. We talk about this a lot, with, especially several years ago, we would see this happen way too much, where people get done with their peak race of the season and then they just kind of slip off into
you never
couch
see them
life.
again.
You never see them again, and then all of a sudden the next season shows up, and like 8 weeks before the event, they're like, well, why can't I get any faster? It's like, well, the time to get faster was the 24 weeks before this, not the 8 weeks leading up to the event.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm trying to get myself at. I don't want to fall into that trap where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna, like, November's gonna get here and I'm gonna do my base, and I'm gonna, like, no, I'm gonna try to get ahead of a little bit, because I do feel like there's certain things in the plan this year that were effective, but I didn't have enough time to execute it for a duration. Yeah. So like the strength training is a great example. Like, I think that was highly effective, but then I think that also put me behind on other parts of my training to get me ready and get me where I wanted to be for Unbound. And I don't want to be in that situation next year. So I think I've got some ideas, and I'm going to start kind of penciling in like bigger blocks of what I'm going to try to accomplish. And a big component of that too is figure out how to get that watts per kilo, magical watts per kilo, in the right direction. So
just go hard.
One thing I think I know for sure is, I think the whole AI training stuff is not quite there.
Yeah.
I think I think that experiment has been had. I'm sure there will be some gains in AI capabilities over the next several weeks and months and years, but I think there's something to be said for the tried and true proven methods. And until you get to a certain level of fitness and athleticism, I just don't know that certain, like,
I think
there's certain
the
things
AI is good for people that are just starting out. Like, if you don't want to afford a coach or anything like that, and the AI has like a, it's nice because it's like I was thinking about what you were saying. If my athlete calls me or texts me and says, I don't really feel like doing something today.
Yeah.
I don't feel like doing the bike ride today.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go, oh, you're fine, go ahead and take off. Sometimes I do that depending on the situation. Yeah. I look at their, what they've been doing and, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Past. And you were saying that like the AI was very quick to just give you a pass.
Yeah. It would be like, oh, well, it would try to reduce it would give you options to do something different, but like the reality is there's a consequence to that.
Yes.
And it's not free.
Right.
Like, you don't get to cut the duration in half and think that you're going to get the same end result.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I usually, when my athletes contact me and say, hey, I don't know if I can do this workout today. Then I'll be like, let's just say they're just not feeling it today.
Yeah.
Then I'll be like, well, let's move it to tomorrow and move something else in its place.
Right.
And then, or I'll be like, well, how about you go out and you give me, let's say it's a 6 interval effort. Like, how about you give me 3 really good intervals?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then let's go from there. If you can get a 4th one in, cool. If not, if you just get the 3 in, let's just see where the 3 are at right now.
That's right.
And then 9 times out of 10,
that 4th one shows up.
They end up doing all 6.
Sure.
So again, I think a lot of times, and I find this too, and I find this with myself too, if I give myself a pass to skip a workout, I'm more likely to skip that workout again.
Sure.
Like if I skip Masters, I'm really more likely to skip Masters again. the second time. And the next thing I know, it's been a month since I swam Masters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's, I didn't want to, but that's just kind of how it plays out. So so you just kind of it's like, once you let yourself get a free pass, it's more likely that you're gonna do it. So I think the best part, I think what AI has to learn, I think for now, is a little bit of tough love.
Absolutely.
That you only get really from just another human being interacting with you.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I think it's great for beginners. So that's the other thing, is a lot of these AI tools out there, not just the ones that I've used, but a lot of the others out there, they don't understand much about you as the person. I don't care how much data you give them access to. they really don't understand like what your motivators are. And I think that's the human side of coaching that cannot ever be replaced, is the human element of knowing demeanor and what's motivating to you, and what do you need to hear at the right time so that you do the right thing and get to the goal that you have.
Yeah. Out of the 10, like let's say to the 10 athletes that I coach most of the time, I treat all 10 of them differently.
Sure. They have to be.
They have a different, yeah. So, what I use for one athlete doesn't work for what I use for another athlete. So it's not a cookie cutter approach. Like you have to be,
that's right.
And I think that's the problem, that AI it just doesn't know like you as a person.
Yeah. And I think that sort of trickles into the structure that it builds for plans. Like, don't get me wrong, there are core structures that plans need to have to get certain types of gains, and that makes sense. But that's not to say, and I think every coach would probably agree with this, I hope, is that yes, you can apply a plan to everybody out there. But that does not mean everybody out there is going to get the same type of result from that plan. And so I think one of the things about AI is it's making the adjustments. It's trying to tailor those adjustments to you based on what it thinks it knows about you.
And then it also tries to tailor it to the bell curve of people that fit into it. And I'm not saying that we're all unique, beautiful snowflakes, but
we are.
but everybody has different strengths and different weaknesses.
It goes back to some of the times before we've talked about this with folks that they're like, but I did the plan what you asked me to do. And it's like, yeah, but if results were guaranteed, then there wouldn't be a need to try other things, right? Like results are never guaranteed on any of these things. Everybody is different. Everybody's body reacts differently to the stimulus that you give it. And that's why you have coaches to be able to interpret what happens. And like, it's why you do the measurement of the improvement over like a 4 or 8 week period, because you don't know if it's going to work or not. That's why we're looking at it.
And then once you do it, then you're like, okay, this person or this athlete responds to this type of training.
That's right.
This athlete responds to this type of training. And so like they may be doing the same event, but their plans are going to, to a point, they're going to look very similar. But if you look in the fine details, there's going to be differences because they're different people and they respond to different stimuli. So I think that's the part that's lacking, I think, in the AI stuff. Even I'm going back to just AI trainer road. So I'll be back on that. It's all just trainer road workouts.
I think it's
because I basically wrote my own workout and my own training plan. I think that works. I'm going to make some few, I think I'll iterate this to next year's plan. So the 2027 plan will be, and will look a lot similar to the 2026 plan, but it's going to be a little bit different because it's going to be tailored more to what I think I needed more.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was talking about. Like, that's where I'm kind of looking at for next year. I'm like starting to figure out like what parts of the calendar, what do I want to focus on in certain parts of the calendar leading up to the race? And I think there are things from the plan 2 years ago where I did handily beat the sun. I think there are certain components of that plan that needed to be integrated in this year. And the structure I was using was not anywhere near that. Like we talked about this, it was rebuilding my power profile to have more of a diesel engine,
which you do have now,
which I do have now, which I by the way, I'm very happy with. So like, that's the part where I'm just like, okay, so that's there. But when I look at what it's trying to forecast for me for next year, I'm like, I don't think I agree with that. And I want to I still want to have the diesel, right? But now I want to build some real power on top of that.
You want to get the big diesel,
the race ability out of it, because having a diesel engine is just the foundation as far as I'm concerned.
It's just basically what you default to, and then you can, that diesel engine just always just keeps moving along, no matter as long as you keep feeding it, it'll just
turbo diesel.
Then you're gonna add the turbo to it and just get the little extra bits out.
So we're gonna be talking about that. I think it's gonna be fun. We're gonna definitely work that into some of the episodes moving forward. I do want to make sure we talk and like share insights that we both have off of our different approaches. And what's funny is I'm sure we're gonna find out that our approaches probably won't be too terribly different over time, which This year they were
Danny
quite a
will
bit
be
different.
cheating off me, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll
He's
see
going to be
about
looking
that.
over my shoulder. So what's
What
the
did you say?
plan?
What did you say for week 21
What'd
again?
you say for 6 weeks coming up before the race?
What kind of workout you doing next Tuesday? I mean,
Yeah,
what generally on Tuesdays? What do you do?
Yeah, what's Tuesday's workouts again? Yeah. No. Yeah, again, like I said, like I'm just referring, like this plan, this Unbound plan that I'm working on is pretty much tailored for me. But eventually I'd like to be able to branch out into like a more of a template.
Oh, I
guess,
think it could. Yeah, it absolutely could be. I think there's probably some tweaks that would have to be made, because again, you kind of built it around where you were at as a rider. But I think that there's no doubt that what we've kind of assimilated over the last couple of years and what you use this year, I think it's a pretty solid foundation for anybody that's looking to beat the sun and to be able to, really race consistently in such a big event.
Yeah.
So yeah. Good stuff,
man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to, again, I love triathlon. I love it so much. It's so much fun. If you're, curious about triathlon, or you have a friend that's curious about racing triathlon, send them our way.
Yeah.
DM me or whatever.
Yeah.
I can talk for hours about triathlon.
Absolutely. We don't spend enough time on the show about triathlon. I know we will here in the next couple of weeks as you get into the different races. Yeah, I mean, I think anybody's got questions, post them out there, reach out.
Definitely talk.
All kinds of experience in it. You do for sure. I've got my experiences that I can from a beginner's perspective.
I've been doing triathlon for 20 years.
Yeah.
I want to say
I'm the one that just jumped into the deep end and decided to go do an Ironman and
so
and call it good.
Yeah, Danny did the longest event and he was like, yeah, I'm good.
Check the box. Check the box. Oh, I did the half, did the full, and then I went back and did a sprint.
Yep. He's got to do an Olympic now. So
one of these days.
Yeah. So put it in the comments. Make him do an Olympic. Get him out of retirement.
Yeah. Start a trending or something. Yeah. I gotta get back to the poop. It's the hardest part.
Let's go. All right, guys. But yeah, great talking to you guys, and can't wait to see you guys all at Solstice. So it's going to be a fun day, I'm sure.
Enjoy it.
If it rains, if it snows, if it winds, if it blows, it's going to be amazing. So always a good time riding up there in Nebraska. So we will see you guys there. All right.